Hello, everybody. My name is JT Laybourne. I'm a heart warrior, if you didn't know. But today I'm really excited because not only are we talking about heart-related stuff, but we get to talk about something else that means a lot to me, and that's the mental health side of it. Because today is Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, and I have some really amazing guests to introduce you guys to, just to hear from them, their stories, and the fun part of being able to talk about just some of the struggles that we go through as heart warriors growing up. Some of the things that maybe other people don't know or realize or see as we go about our lives, because we kind of look normal, but we do have limitations, and sometimes it can maybe weigh on us a little bit from the mental health standpoint. So what better way to kick this whole journey off other than on Children's Mental Health Awareness Day? First, I'd love to say thank you to the American Heart Association for allowing us to do this. It is unbelievably amazing. I've made it my goal to try to bring as much awareness to heart health as I possibly can. And with the mental health side of things, this just was a really perfect fit for what I'm hoping to accomplish. Also, a special thank you to Children's Heart Foundation. The work that they're doing with the American Heart Association around this topic is just wonderful. So all of our love, all of our appreciation for the work you're doing in this space. All right, my first guest, I'm really excited to introduce you to him. His name is Luke. He's got his mom, Mia, with him as well. But this kid's been through a lot. You're going to love him. His smile is huge. He lights up the room. And he's only 11 years old. When you meet this kid, you'll see exactly why I just have a really big spot for him in my heart. He lives every day to the fullest because they're not quite sure with his heart condition what's going to be the next steps. So him, his family, they just embody the idea of each day is special, live it to the fullest. He's had over 10 procedures in his short life so far. He's kind of the epitome of a heart warrior. So, Luke, how are you?
Good.
What's going on?
School.
Yeah.
Like going to school and testing.
What else?
That's really mostly it. And testing.
So you're the youngest of what? You've got 4 older brothers?
3.
You've got 3 older brothers. Awesome. How's it like? What's it like being the youngest?
I mean, I get to tease my brothers.
And they can't really pick on you, right? Because you're the youngest. I love it. I would love to hear from you. So we know that you've gone through some crazy stuff with your heart in 11 years, right?
Uh-huh.
I want to know from you, what's it like growing up as a heart warrior?
Hard.
Okay, tell me about it.
So heart surgeries when they hurt.
They do hurt.
Yeah.
Uh,
When they hurt, they're like it feels like weird hurt, and then you just forget about it after.
when was your last procedure?
2 years.
So when you were 9?
Yeah.
You know what's cool is we've got a guest coming up. You're gonna love him, but he's got a procedure coming up, and he's 9 years old. So I'm really excited for you to get to talk to him and just give him some words of encouragement, because we've all been there, right? And we know it kind of gets a little scary when we're leading up to it. We get some nerves, but we know everything's going to be okay. So we just get to ensure him, right, that you got this. What do you remember about your last procedure?
All I knew that it was like hard,
Mm-hmm.
scary.
Yeah. Do people kind of then treat you a little bit different when they find out that you're a heart warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that's good, and then sometimes maybe not so good, right? Sometimes we just want to be normal, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice when
Always.
other people know. What do you do if you find yourself sad, feeling a little down? What are some of the things that you like to do?
Talk to my friends.
Yeah. Just talk about anything
Yeah.
that makes you feel better. And then let's say maybe what if your friends aren't around?
I mean, they're always friends.
I love your attitude more than
I
you
have a,
know.
I have a whole group.
Yeah. And if you had a friend, let's say you guys are on the bus home and you're sitting next to him in the seat, and he says, "Man, Luke, I've been feeling kind of sad today." What would you say to him?
Um, just always know, like, it's just one day. It's not really a big deal. It's not like the end of the world.
I love your outlook. And this is why I said what I did about you. You embody this just unbelievable outlook on life and just all the joy. It's really special to get to talk to you and hang out with you. I'm going to talk to your mom for a second too.
Okay.
So, mom, aka
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
you found out about Luke's condition about
Yeah.
how long after being born?
So after he was born, they took him just to do the head to toe evaluation, and pretty much right after they did that, they said, well, we found some things wrong with him. He looked a little blue, so we called some doctors to check him out, and then they started working really quickly, took him to the NICU and explained that he was having a heart issue, and that was the result of the tinge of blue to his skin. So I was by myself when I found that out. My husband had to leave pretty much soon after birth. He had to go pick up our older boys from school and, all their practices for sports. So I had a little bit of time to figure out what was going on and understand what was going on. And literally what I did was text my friends who are in the medical field, because I didn't really understand what was going on. I was literally in shock.
Yeah.
I felt alone. I just didn't know what to do.
I can't even imagine going from one of the most beautiful days giving birth, and then all of a sudden, where's my child?
Right.
So if there's a mom out there facing something similar, what kind of advice would you give to her?
I would definitely tell them, take a breath, take a moment, pause, because literally my mind was racing at 100 miles an hour, thinking the worst. I was literally thinking all kinds of horrible things, which I probably shouldn't have, but that's where my mind went.
Yeah.
I would tell other moms, you're literally not alone, even though you feel like it. Lean on your friends, lean on medical professionals. We literally had Luke's cardiologist, who we just met, draw me pictures because I couldn't understand anything that they were saying. That was literally the only way he could explain it to me, because I was still in shock.
I mean, I'm 39 years old and I still could use drawings for my own heart condition.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird to say, but yeah, it is a complicated matter that tends to just, you kind of sometimes don't want to know all the details, but it is nice to know.
Right.
Now, obviously, as mom, you get to watch Luke grow up. He's a stud, never has a bad day, never is sad, and never. What's been your observation watching him grow up with his heart conditions? From the mom's perspective, did you see him maybe struggle in some areas a little bit more because of his heart condition that maybe he didn't quite know as much, or did you notice anything?
It wasn't more academically that he was struggling. It was more physically. Like, he can do, what quote unquote normal kids can do. He can run, jump, play, do all of those things, but he gets so tired easily, so out of breath. I mean, it's like he ran a mile when he was literally just jogging a few yards, or he'll catch the ball, or I mean, obviously things of that sort. And then also he gets sick really quick. Someone else could have a cold, maybe like far away from him. And as soon as they cough, the next minute, then he's coughing.
Yep.
So his immune system is totally compromised in that sense.
Man.
But otherwise, academically, I haven't seen anything that has hindered him. If anything, he's had really good grades and his teachers love him.
So the last question I have for you, because I think anybody watching this that's listened to Luke, we're all wanting to know his secret. What is it that you taught him? Where does he get that positive outlook from, that just always smiling, always good day kind of a thing?
He wants to answer.
You got it. I'm waiting for it.
So my teacher, they always say use a positive mindset, so I always do that. And also, when I first got to my teacher's room, I was just like so happy because it's the first day. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, you're going to inspire a lot of people that hear this message because as simple as it sounds and easy as it sounds, it is something that we forget a lot in life, that sometimes we just get to boil it down to, I'm here, I made it, it's another day, it's a sun's out, whatever the case may be, but there's always something positive, right? I have a little saying that someone told me, and I really have embodied it, and I think you'll like it. Not every day is good, but there is good in every day. And I think that's powerful. And I think that when I hear Luke, when I hear you talk, that's what I see is, yeah, we might have rough spots throughout the day, but doesn't mean that the entire day has to be bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you are a special kid. And I really hope to get to meet you someday because we could have a lot of fun.
Yep.
So now, one last time, speak to the world, Luke. What would you want to say? What's your message back to anybody listening, whether they're a heart warrior or just another 11-year-old in school? What do you want to say to them?
Think positive. Always have a good mindset. It's not about how like bad your grades are. It's about how much you're trying.
Spot on. I really appreciate you sharing all of this, Luke. Mia, you two are amazing. I still have goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them, but it's really special to hear your story. And I just think that his outlook on life, mental health is very special. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
We talked about doing a little show and tell, right? I'm going to bring in somebody else, and then we're going to do a show and tell. You got your item with you? Got it? Okay,
Yeah.
so now we get to introduce the next person. Now, this is the one I told you is getting, at the end of this month, he'll have his next procedure. So he'll be the age that you were during your last one.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, we're going to welcome Jackson and his mother, Jamie. Jackson and Jamie. So Jamie found out when she was 18 weeks pregnant that Jackson had some heart complications. Her story is unbelievable. Listening to her talk about the ups and downs of learning about what was going on with her baby inside of her, and knowing ahead of time what was in store for her. But this kid, amazing, 9 years old, amazing smile. Jackson, what's up?
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Did you bring your show and tell item?
Yep.
Okay, let's see it. We're gonna do show and tell, and then I'm gonna ask you some questions, really tough questions. Are you sure you're ready?
Maybe.
Okay, let's see your show and tell item, Jackson.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, is that a Lego with a Band-Aid? A Lego heart with a Band-Aid?
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Let's see yours, Luke. Okay, tell me about it.
This is my tiger. I got it for my 8th birthday.
7.
7th. It was from my best friend.
Okay, why is it so special?
Because I've known my best friend since kinder.
Really? That is very special. And so is that kind of your go-to? Is that your comfort? Your just can make you feel better no matter what?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
And Jackson, show me that heart again one more time. I wanted what inspired you to build that?
I kind of, when you said it could be anything I loved, since I've loved Legos and me and Luke both have the heart problem, I decided to just build a Lego heart under 30 minutes.
That's fast. And it looks like it's even on a stand, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So it's ready to go. That was the Lego heart my son made me. This isn't for my show and tell. I have a show and tell item because I wanted to bring mine. So mine's a golf ball.
I know why.
You tell me why.
Because like your sport is golf.
It is. So why do you think I chose this as my show and tell item on today's call?
Because it's something that you like.
And it's also something that that someone inspired it and that you love.
Obviously, growing up with heart defects, I wasn't able to do a lot of things that my friends were able to do. And when we talk about mental health, this is where I get a little emotional because that wasn't always the funnest for me growing up. I wanted to be able to do the things that my friends got to do, like play football and baseball and basketball and run around and do all of that. But guess what? I couldn't. And so I'd have some pretty sad days because I got to watch all my friends go put on their football pads and get ready to go play sports. And here I am, not able to. But guess what sport I was able to play? Golf. Got to play golf. And although I got teased playing golf because back when I started to play golf, it was not cool to play golf. Tiger Woods hadn't taken over the scene yet and shown everybody how cool you can be as a golfer. But I stuck to it because I fell in love with golf. Now, here's the reason that I really wanted to talk about this and show you, because if it wasn't for my heart defect, I wouldn't have really found golf. I wouldn't have been able to play as much as I did or forced to play as much as I did. And without golf, I wouldn't be here today talking to you, because it was because of golf. I ended up having a trick shot go viral, some silly trick shot that launched me into the social media world. And fast forward a few years, I ended up going through open heart surgery in the pandemic. And now I'm here working with the amazing American Heart Association, getting to talk with all of you. So I kind of wanted to just show you guys that sometimes even when we don't see it at the time, man, everything important happens for a reason. And when we just follow our heart and do the things that bring us joy and make us happy, they can really turn into something special. So whoever knew that hitting a golf ball could lead all of us on a screen one day? That's kind of weird to think about. So I appreciate you guys bringing those items for show and tell. I'm not quite done with you yet, Luke, but I do want to talk to Jackson, because then I'm going to come back to you, Luke, and I'm going to ask a favor of you. Okay? Jackson, how are you doing today?
Good.
Good. And you've been through a lot as a heart warrior yourself. What's it been like growing up with some heart issues?
Pretty tough
Tell me about it.
because I have to take breaks and my ADHD has been higher.
And then taking breaks is tough because you kind of want to keep going.
Yeah,
Sitting still is not fun for us.
no,
I have ADD, so I'm there with you. Like, we've got to be doing something. And when we're told to sit down and take breaks, man, that can be difficult. I want to know about how do you deal with the harder days when you find yourself maybe feeling a little bit down because of the heart stuff and because of just not being able to stay as active as you want to? What do you do?
usually I just like take a break and start just like talking to myself,
Yeah.
and not it's not that much. All I have to do is just sit down and relax.
Yeah. If someone else out there is going through some hard stuff, what kind of advice would you give them? What would you tell them if they were feeling a little sad?
Just keep going. It's okay.
Yeah.
And just know that at least you have friends.
I like that. I think you're amazing. You do have a procedure coming up, right? The end of this month. Did you know tomorrow will be my 4-year heart anniversary?
No.
Kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be May 22nd, I believe, is when you go in for yours.
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
think so.
How are you feeling about it?
Pretty nervous.
Yeah. It's okay to be nervous. What are you nervous about?
Like them not being able to fix something, or it just getting worse.
Yeah. And that's completely understandable. I want to talk to your mom for a second. Tell me, Jamie, you found out with Jackson's condition, you were 18 weeks pregnant?
Yes, had gone to just the regular anatomy ultrasound, and they didn't see things that they should see.
Now, obviously, this is about the heart stuff and the mental health stuff. I can imagine that was a pretty big shock, surprise, and you went through all the flood of emotions.
Absolutely. I was devastated. I went home from that appointment at the high-risk doctor and crawled in the bed and cried for 3 days straight, and did not think that I was strong enough to take care of a child that was going to be faced with the heart journey that he was going to be faced with.
Wow. Third, what caused you to finally get out of bed?
I was laying there with my hand across my stomach, feeling completely defeated, and Jackson kicked me for the very, very first time. And I was actually praying that I was telling God that I wasn't strong enough. And Jackson kicked me for the first time, and everything turned around from that moment. I knew that whatever it took, that's what we would do. And it was like a phoenix rising from the flames. I had a completely different outlook on what we would do to make sure that he was okay.
Man, you're gonna make me cry. I got the goosebumps again. I gotta imagine that, was there some more ups and downs from the mental health side of it?
No, there's been ups and downs. There's ups and downs, and he's 9.5 years old. I apologize to my husband every day from then till Jackson was probably about a year old, because I felt like it was my fault, that I had done something wrong during my pregnancy that caused it. And of course, my husband never made me feel that way. That was all me doing that to myself. And I put a lot of burden and anxiety and stress on myself because of that guilt and that blame.
And that's a great transition into how did you deal with that, and what finally kind of helped you get past that? Or if you haven't quite got past that, what are you doing to facilitate that?
Well, I went for just a regular annual checkup and was talking to my doctor, and she told me that I had PTSD. And I was like, well, I don't. I've never been to war. And she said, but you have. And through some of that therapy and a lot of realization that nobody's promised tomorrow, and that we've got completely heart healthy people who have issues the next day, and they, taking it from that perspective and hearing her actually put a name to that PTSD with anxiety, it just helped me take that next step forward in realizing that there's not something wrong with me. This is okay. Everybody has to process this information, and it is traumatizing.
Yeah.
He was my firstborn.
Oh, and that's the contrast of Mia and her fourth child and your first child. And you made a comment about Luke, and then I'm thinking, here we have Ceirra coming up next. She was 14 years old before she found out what her heart condition, or that she was born with any sort of heart condition. So it's amazing to see the vast difference of all of us. Mine wasn't discovered until I was 2 years old. So I think that's why heart health awareness stuff is all important, because the more we can continue to spread this, just the more research and work gets done to detect earlier and earlier. But I appreciate you guys being on. I appreciate you sharing your story. One more question for you, Jamie. What would you say to the moms out there that are feeling a kind of way, that maybe that guilt? Because that's something we don't maybe talk about enough. My mom experienced it, wondering every day if she did something to cause my congenital heart defect. What advice do you have to the parents out there that might feel that way?
I tell them, you know, feel the grief, because you do go through a grieving process, and it's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to go through that, but it wasn't your fault. There is nothing that you could have done that would have changed it, and you will still have a beautiful child that you will love more than life itself, and that doesn't change. And if you focus on that, you can get past the guilt.
I love it. I'm a mama's boy, so Mia, Jamie, you two, I appreciate you guys dearly, because in my opinion, the strength of a mom is unmatched by anything. You guys are truly heroes. You're warriors. You got to experience right alongside us what we experienced. So that's awesome. We're gonna go to both Luke and Jackson. We have a really cool opportunity, because here's Luke that went through something at Jackson's age. Jackson's about to go through it. Luke, talk to Jackson. What do you got to tell him? What would you say to him?
It's okay to be nervous and scared, but all you gotta do is just like calmly breathe and remember it's just your surgery. It's something could go wrong, but it's fine.
I like that. Yeah, I think that you two are awesome. Did you know that?
Yes.
I'm excited to see just what you're going to grow up to do. We're all going to be thinking about you, Jackson. We're all going to be just waiting for you to get out of your procedure, and so we can all hear how awesome it went. And we're gonna have to I feel like it's only appropriate for all of us to get on a FaceTime call once you're feeling up to it, right?
Yes.
We get to hear from another person. Her name is Ceirra, and she's a little bit older than you guys. She went all the way till she was 14 years old, and something that you haven't done yet, but you're going to get to a point where you get to go to your first dance. Okay. You get to go, if your parents let you go, you get to go to your first dance. And I remember mine being so nervous, like, holy cow, how am I going to get brave enough to go ask a girl to dance with me? What am I doing? I can't, I should leave. I'm so nervous. Well, Ceirra had all of those feelings. And the next day, she kind of still felt like that. But now, like, wow, something's wrong. Like, I still shouldn't have these nerves. I'm home. I went to sleep. I should be fine now. She got up and went down the hall and collapsed. Next thing you know, she's being rushed to hospitals and emergency rooms, and they couldn't quite figure out what was going on. Her story is unbelievable. She's an amazing story for advocating for your own health. She knew something wasn't right. And, sometimes as family members, they're like, oh, you're just being dramatic. Come on. Are you really? Is it that bad? But she knew it was bad. So Ceirra, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you.
That's just the first part of your story. So you go through a bunch of stuff at 14. One thing, when we got to talk earlier, that really stood out to me was when you got through your procedure, going back to school. You said something about your backpack. What was it?
Yeah, I was so embarrassed about how I looked. I was carrying around this little blue rolly backpack. How embarrassing. When everyone got to carry a backpack on their shoulders, I wasn't able to carry a backpack. So I had to have a rolly one. No one in high school had a rolly one. So I stuck out like a sore thumb.
On top of your 14,
Yeah. Yeah.
You are a freshman.
Yes.
High school is already intimidating enough. It's already scary enough. And now you feel different because you're not allowed to even carry your own backpack. What was that like, just day to day going into class? How did your fellow students treat you?
Yeah, so I know we talked about just wearing, your scars on your sleeve, and I felt like rolling my backpack was like wearing a scar on my sleeve. Like it was just a reminder to me and to my peers in school that I had a heart condition now, and that was indicatory of me being treated differently. So that was like the sign to everyone, like, hey, this is a porcelain doll. You have to be careful with this one. Like it was
Yeah.
just a sign to me, even though it was a little rolly backpack, to me, that was just a sign like, hey, I just had this heart attack. Like I don't know what other way to describe it besides it was just like a big sign on me.
So you graduate high school, you go on with your life, you meet the love of your life, you get engaged, and then what? A couple weeks before your wedding, you find out.
I found out I needed open heart surgery about 3 weeks before our wedding. And this was in COVID
Wow.
year as well. Plus with dealing with the COVID stuff and then planning my wedding and being close to finishing college, I was also planning for my open heart surgery.
You brought up something that I've never thought about. I had mentioned my scar, and anytime I'd go swimming, I felt different. People would look at me, and sometimes they would ask, sometimes they wouldn't. When I brought that up to you, I'll never forget. You said, sometimes I wish I had that scar because mine's so small, my bikini could cover it up and nobody would ever know what I've been through. And that really just, it hit me. That, I mean, heart warrior, scar or no scar, we all get to go through our own trials and tribulations, our own struggles. Um, how's the health been since?
Yeah, so as everyone knows, heart journeys are just so up and down. It actually has been up for me recently. So the doctors told me I would never get above 44% ejection fraction or heart function. And I made it to the 50 to 55% heart function, all thanks to the Lord and all thanks to working out, focusing on that diet. That becomes really important the older you get. So that's been my main focus on getting that heart function up. And it is obviously quite possible.
So now you've got two young boys here. What kind of advice do you want to give to them, knowing the years that they have coming up and going through the times where maybe school can get a little more challenging, both from the kinds of kids that are around that maybe tease a little bit more or whatnot, just the stresses that come with high school? What kind of advice do you give to them?
Yeah, I would just say, continue with that positive attitude. It's really funny. I always get people that say, you have such a positive attitude for what you've been through. And although this is such a difficult journey, it's very humbling and it teaches us to be better humans because we don't know what everyone's going through, but we have some idea about what everyone's day to day can look like. And it's humbling in that process because we can treat everyone as we would want to be treated. So like, let's just say, your friend has a heart condition and they haven't even shared with you that they had a heart condition. You know how to treat them without even knowing that information, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really glad that you're on today. I thought it was really special to be able to show Jackson and Luke, another grown person that has gone through some of the similar things. You're another inspiration for all the kids out there. Heart warriors are not to look up to, from the positive attitude, from going through those difficult times, obviously advocating for yourself. What's that one last thing, just speaking to the world at broad, that you would want to say?
Just to continue to hold on to hope and continue to stay positive. you know, you're going to have those ups and downs, but this is a journey we're all on, and you're definitely not alone. We are all here to support. I'm sure there's plenty of family and friends that are there to support, but the heart community is a different kind of support, and we just all need to hold on to each other and provide that support for each other.
Absolutely. During your dark days, what's your go-to?
So I would say in the past would just be hanging out with my friends, but I actually, the more that time goes on and the more I've been confident in myself, I would say my go-to is cooking, working out. I found so much mental release in working out and just being alone. So I'm similar in that sense. I used to be all about the friends and kind of like, you know, pushing all those feelings down. And now that I've come into tune with my own mental health, I like being with my own brain now. And I like working out and I like cooking because I'm able to spend time with myself.
I love that. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time today. It's a perfect segue into our next guest. This person, unbelievable. Dr. Kasparian, she is doing unbelievable, amazing work in not only the heart world, but the mental health world, and really paving the way, one of a kind in the work that you do, Dr. Kasparian. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's really special to be here today and be part of the conversation. Thank you.
We are honored to have you here. You've obviously been listening to these stories, and I just want to know, you know, it's something that we don't talk about often enough when it comes to the heart world. Mental health kind of gets overlooked. People go like, oh, great, you're stitched back up, back to the real world you go and enjoy life. Why is that? Why do we not pay more mind to mental health when it comes to us heart warriors?
You put it so beautifully, JT. I think we've heard incredible stories of resilience today. And alongside that, we know that people with congenital heart disease face enormous medical challenges. We've heard about hospital stays and surgeries, other medical procedures, cardiac symptoms, uncertainty about the future. And so it's not surprising that for kids and adults with congenital heart disease, mental health challenges are really common. We know that 1 in 2 adults with congenital heart disease will experience anxiety or depression at some point in their lives. That's 50%, which is strikingly high rate. About 1 in 3 kids born with a heart condition will experience a mental health challenge, and most commonly we see anxiety and attention difficulties. And unfortunately, we know that very few people with congenital heart disease receive mental health treatment for these difficulties. Not only do they not receive treatment, they're often go unrecognized, as you just said. And we know the symptoms of heart disease can overlap with symptoms of depression and anxiety. So things like fatigue and sleeping problems, changes in appetite, limited energy, not wanting to spend time with family and friends, or shortness of breath. These are things that understandably we see in young people with heart disease. And these are also symptoms of that we see in young people with anxiety and depression. And so giving people tools to help them deal with anxiety and depression helps to understand their heart disease and helps their medical team to better treat the symptoms of their heart condition. And as you said, JT, you know, I think many congenital heart centres really focus on education and making sure that our patients and their families understand their heart condition and their medications and the tests and procedures they may need. But what's often missing is that mental health care piece. And so what we really encourage our patients and their families and clinicians to talk about is how they're thinking and feeling, because we know that mental health is such a crucial part of our overall health and well-being.
Yeah. Do you see things progressing in the right direction? Do you see more doctors becoming aware of the two connections. Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel?
Oh, I sure do. I sure do. I think the tide is really turning in terms of support services. You know, Cincinnati Children's has really been a pioneer in creating programs to support the well-being of patients and families with congenital heart disease. But more and more hospitals around the country are offering these services too, and it's becoming part of routine care. It's becoming part of what we hope our patients and their families expect as part of their heart care.
Now, what would you say to families listening to this? What kind of advice would you give to them? Where could they turn to if they are feeling a little down, alone, unsure of, you know, who to talk to, where to go? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is that, like with all of us, the cornerstones of good mental health include things like getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet, staying active in whatever way you can, and keeping a daily routine, making sure you have time for rest and relaxation and the things you really enjoy, like cooking or reading. Celebrating the things that you're proud of, but also not being hard on yourself when things don't work out the way you hoped. Connecting with family and friends, as Luke has said, speaking up and sharing our stories like we're doing today, and most importantly, reaching out when you need help. I think the most important thing I'd like people to know is that they're not alone, that mental health challenges are common and understandable and treatable, and you don't need to face them on your own. You can talk with your heart care team and ask them to help you to find the support that you'd like and need.
Sometimes it's so hard to admit that you're struggling. When you're feeling that way, it can feel so daunting to just speak up. Are there any tips or tricks or any advice of if you're feeling that way, you know you need to talk to somebody, but you're just you need that little bit of courage or just a nudge in the right direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we also really need to flip the script. I think healthcare teams asking how you're doing and opening up that conversation, letting you know how common it is to experience these challenges, and that, you know, it's very understandable that you feel that way. Really listening when their patients tell them how they're feeling, and knowing how to connect with services. I think more and more there's information online. There's ways to get connected that you can dip in and dip out when it feels right for you. And I think being part of the community, the congenital heart disease community, being part of initiatives like this through the American Heart Association and Children's Heart Foundation, where we come together as a community to talk about how we're feeling and to share our stories, and there can be a lot of strength in doing that.
I love that. Well, I mean, you have 4 heart warriors, 2 amazing mothers on this call that we are all extremely grateful for your commitment to this world. It means the absolute world to us. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being an advocate for all things that we get to deal with in our journey.
Thanks.
Very special. Thank you. And that's just it. I think, yeah, the mental health days can be tough, but this constant, you're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. That's the one thing I keep hearing over and over again. And even at those moments where you do feel alone, I think giving people the opportunity to have something like this, to maybe, hey, if you need to go back and watch this again and just listen to when people say, really, you're not alone. You may feel physically alone, but there are people in this world going through things, struggling, and although you never want anybody else to struggle, I think sometimes there's comfort in knowing that you're not broken. You're not broken. This is life. And this is what we get to go through, and we get to grow, and beautiful things come from all sorts of avenues of our life through struggle. But I appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to do something new, and that's just merging these two worlds of mental health, heart disease, heart health, putting them together. This has been really special. So thank you all. Is there anything else you guys want to say to everybody?
Yes. The heart journey is like riding on a crazy roller coaster, but guess what? We're all buckled up in together. This is an all together ride.
Very beautiful. That's it. I hope that we get a chance to do this again. This is us. We're heart warriors. Love it. As always, go make someone smile.